Hello everyone. Thought I'd bring you another video, just tell you what's going on in my world of flying paramotors. Took a trip to South Padre Island, tried to go see a SpaceX launch, flight test, Starship Flight Test 9, but kept getting delayed and it looks like I'm not going to make it. So I got out on an evening where it was fairly high wind. See me putting a little sand on the wing. Gonna try a Cobra inflation. Got the motor running up, everything seems good, but I was being a little cautious with the higher winds than I'm used to. And what you're going to see is I get the Cobra goes up reasonably well. I need probably a little more practice with it, but the sand, I had a lot of sand on the tip, and it held it down on the ground a little bit harder, better than I thought it would. It kind of stalled there and it didn't get under it, but eventually I wiggled around and figured out how to get the wing up and get the sand off the tip. Give it here, give it a second there, and there goes the big pile of sand that I got on the tip. And right about the time I'm ready to turn around, motor dies on me. So I should have brought the wing back down to the side Cobra, or I should have grabbed the D's instead. I just pulled the brakes, brought the wing down fine, but that, when it does that, I haven't killed it with the D's or Cobra side. It flops around a little bit. I fast forward through some of that. You can see me trying to get the wing, finally pulling in aside and get it killed. Then I'm off trying to restart the motor. Never did get it restarted. It pulled and pulled. I got some of this on the video. You see me sitting down on my carrier, pulling, and then I eventually turned the camera off and probably did a little bit of more pulling on the starter. Could not get it started. Took the spark plug out, scratched on it a little bit. Seemed like it ought to be okay. Didn't help. Eventually, I sat down and for 20-30 minutes just took a rest and thought about it. I had a spare carburetor and a spare spark plug. Should have done things in opposite order, but I replaced the carburetor. That didn't get it going. Replaced the spark plug, and I got the motor running after an hour of sitting there and fiddling with it or something. So I did get a flight in that evening, and as you can see, I didn't bother with the Cobra. Winds dropped a little bit, or maybe I realized I didn't have to do a Cobra, and got up and away. Very hazy. Now the camera's probably a little bit smudged, but very hazy day. I think it was burning. Agricultural burning in Mexico, winds blowing up there. You can see he got out. There was a guy learning to kite surf, looked like an instructor and a student there on the beach playing with the kite, the wing. And so yeah, I ran up and down the beach as much as I could. Saw the beach patrol out. This is from the camera I had setting up at my launch site, and I wasn't sure if they were gonna be fussing with me or not. It was my first flight there. They did fuss with me a year or two ago down in the Corpus area. Didn't stop me from flying, but just tried to restrict where I should launch and take off. These guys at South Padre Island, as long as I didn't bother anybody else, they seemed to not pay me no mind. But on this initial flight, I kind of avoided landing when they were close to my vehicle, and so you'll see I follow them down the beach as they're doing their patrols, and then once I see that they're going away from me where I'm gonna land, I'll turn around and do a little landing and finish up that day. It's always nice to land in a relatively high wind as long as I pay attention to manage the wing to bring it down, but I think I'm pretty good about that these days. I always like to bring it down close to the vehicle, and success on this day. It was a good one. Second day I got out, and winds were a lot lighter the next day. So much so that I actually did a forward, and that had me, the winds was coming straight off the water, so I had to turn a little bit quickly and get down the beach. Some of the sites along the north South Padre Island, you can see this is near the end of the paved road, and they had a lot of front-end loader out there most of the time cleaning the sand that was blowing over. It looks like it covers the road all the time, and they're always uncovering the road. Looks like some little bit hint of a development area there. Who knows how long that's been in the planning, but they got a fence that's partially covered and some electrical and sewer plumbing type work going on inside the fence there. But one of the cool things on the second day, I didn't actually realize it at the point of this video, but there was a line of birds that formation of birds that I ended up following down the beach. They were kind of ridge soaring. There was enough of a height of the sand dunes in a lot of the places that you could, with some wind, I think a free flight person probably could stay. Here's a hint of me going along the ridge trying to feel out if I'm getting any extra lift. Of course I'm using the motor, but up ahead you can see that formation of birds slowly catching up to them. I guess I finally found some birds that I can fly faster than. That's I was joking with another guy that locally back in where I live, that he was wondering if bird strikes were an issue, and I told him almost all the birds fly faster than us, so we pretty much can't catch up to them. In this case, I did manage to catch up to them here. Eventually got alongside them and passed them. So hey, I won that drag race. First time I've beat some birds in the air that I know of anyway. So overall, I'd say flying just on the north end of South Padre Island, staying out away from the community and most of the people. It's a pretty nice place to get out for a paramotor flight. I enjoyed it, and I stayed close to where you could access it from a road, didn't go where a motor out would take too far. Encountered this guy after I had already packed up and put everything away. I tried to show him a piece of my hoot, let him know I had a paramotor, but he wasn't paying any attention. So that pretty much sums up my first couple of flights there on South Padre Island. Have a good one, everybody.